Hey everybody, it's Carrie. You're watching Joy in My Keto Journey, and I am really excited about what we're going to talk about today. Several of you have asked, Carrie, how do I use this carb manager? How do you plan? What are you doing to set yourself up for success on a weekly basis? And so I'm going to take you through how I do that. It's super easy. And I just wanted to kind of cue this up and let you know that what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through my calendar. I use a Google Calendar. You can use a physical calendar if you're more of a writer and you'd rather do that. But I jot stuff on the calendar just as I think of things or I hear about a recipe or something, I throw it on the calendar. And then I'm going to take you through kind of what I do on a weekly basis, how I plan, kind of what my thought process is, and then how I use the Carb Manager. When I first started using the Carb Manager, I was using it more as a log to log my food. But what I quickly realized was that I was going over all the time and I was getting disappointed and like, And so, and my mom was real like, I am not logging my food. she was the biggest like naysayer. But it was funny because when I showed her how to do it, now she's so funny. She gets in there and she, changes up her lunches and she does, her thing. And it's kind of like a game, to try to stay within your allotted, carbs and fats and proteins for the day, but it does it all for you. It's so nice and it's free. So I'm going to take you in and I'm going to show you how to set it up and how to use it basically, and what I do to use it to plan. And that's what switched for me is I started using it to plan my meals instead of doing it after the fact. So if you do it to plan your meals, it takes all the guesswork out. It's so nice. You know what you're going to have. I walk into the kitchen every day with my iPad and say, okay, what am I having today? And it's very easy. It just makes it so much nicer. And if you stay within your macros, you're just setting yourself up for success, right? So it's really a cool program. So that's all I'm going to say about that. We're going to go to the computer and I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is my Google Calendar. Now, again, you can use a physical calendar if you'd like. I like the Google Calendar because it's really easy to like drag and drop things, and it's very simple. But what I do when I'm looking, as you can see, I'm a little ahead with my calendar. But as I see good recipes that I like, I just come out here and drop them on the calendar. You can see in November, I've already got some stuff out there. Tuesdays and Thursdays in November, we're going to be fasting. So we're going to try something alternate day fasting, which is new for us. But this is just what I do. These are the things that I consider when I'm making my calendar. And that is things like, we like fish. We just because it's good for us, we always have fish on Sunday because Monday morning is weigh-in. We like to have a lighter dinner on Sundays. And then we also have fish one other time, typically during the week, or some kind of seafood. So that's something that I make sure that I plug in. We also have like our more dense calorie type meals on Mondays because Monday is weigh-in day, and if we have something that's a little more calorie dense, we have the whole week to kind of work it off, so to speak. The other thing we started doing on Mondays a few weeks back is having dessert. There's lots of yummy keto dessert recipes out there, and the problem is that there wasn't room in our macros to be able to ever enjoy them. So we decided that Monday is kind of our free day. And so we also, in addition to having whatever we're having for dinner, we have our dessert. And if we go over on our macros that day, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're not going out and eating a big plate of pasta or, a big pizza or a lot of bread or anything. We're sticking to our plan. We're just having higher macros than we normally would, and just that one day of the week. And that seems to be working for us right now. No big deal. So the other thing that I look at is leftovers. You'll notice that on Fridays, we have leftovers every Friday. And the reason that we do that, my freezer was starting to fill up. I was having multiple things that had leftovers each week, and that was causing my freezer to get overcrowded. So, and I was throwing food away, which I hate to throw food away. So we are doing leftovers every Friday, and sometimes during the week we do a leftover night as well. Like, this is how you do it. So just as you go out there, I go to Pinterest, I go to online. There's lots of different, if you're watching YouTube videos, or if you go on my site, there's lots of really great recipes. Just fill it in on your calendar, and then we'll go over to the Carb Manager, and I will show you how to log this information in your Carb Manager. Because sometimes I get so far out with these, you'll notice that I have in parentheses here something, and that is a note to myself to know where I found this recipe. So this particular one was on Hey Keto Mama. KC is for Keto Connect, Wholesome Yum. So I make that little note to myself so that when that day rolls around, I can remember where to go to find the recipe to get it loaded in the Carb Manager. Okay, so this is the Carb Manager, and this is what it looks like. If you go to your app store on your phone or your iPad and you search for Carb Manager, look for the icon that looks like this, then you will download that. It's a free app. It won't cost you a dime. And I am going to walk you through what to do once you have that loaded. But the first thing you want to do once you've downloaded it is go to Settings. And in the settings, there's a bunch of different things here that you can kind of scroll through and decide whether you want to turn on and do all kinds of things. Track whether you want to do net carbs or total carbs. I track net carbs. You'll want to go into my profile and fill out your profile information, but then you want to go into the macro section, and this is the section that I was telling you about that's so groovy, and it does everything for you. So the first part here is setting a calories goal for yourself, and this is based on how much weight you'd like to lose in a month's time. Some people like to start off very slow. If you want to do it very healthily, the slower you lose it, they say the easier it is to keep it off. But you determine what you want your calorie goal to be based on what you would like to lose in a month, and then come down to the macronutrient section. Now, a lot of times you hear people use the word macros. All macros means it's short for macronutrients, and that is the ratio of your carbs, proteins, and fats. That's all it is. So when something has a really good macro profile, that means it really lines up well within your ratio. So the first thing you want to do is come to this first one and click down. I chose keto, which is 5% carbs, 25% protein, 70% fat. There's different ones you can see that you can choose, and you can even customize if that's something that you're interested in doing. But again, I just chose keto. And then based on my goals up here, it automatically sets what my daily carb intake should be. So 16 grams of carbs would be 5% of my carbs per day. It automatically set my protein at 82 grams and my fat at 102 grams. So I apply my macros, and once I apply my macros and I go to my daily log, this over here in this section, you'll see that it has my totals here. 17 grams of net carbs, 102 fat, 82 protein, which is what we saw before, and 1,306 net calories. So as I log and I put my food in here, it's going to give me a bar graph for these different things to let me know how much I have left within a day to use. So this is where I said it kind of becomes a game, and my mom started having fun with it, because you can play with things and really learn what is fat and what is carbs and what is proteins. I grew up a fat girl my whole life, so I was always fighting my weight, so I know exactly what those things are, but it never ceases to amaze me. My skinny friends who have put on weight later in life a lot of times don't know what is a protein, what is a carb, what is it. You will learn that with this, so it's kind of fun. So the first thing we're going to do is come in, and I'm going to show you just basically how to log food. So you can log breakfast, lunch, dinner, you can log snacks, you can log your supplements. If you do exercise, you can log exercise, and in the settings it had a thing in there that said if you do exercise, do you want it to take it off of like your calories for the day. But But for me, we're doing intermittent fasting, meaning that we are not having our first meal of the day until like 12 or 2 o'clock. I'll do a completely different video on what we're doing for fasting, but we start every day with lunch between 12 and 2. But what I do log at breakfast, you could log it kind of wherever you want, is I have a daily drink that consists of apple cider vinegar, and I've called it daily drink. And I'm going to show you, if you have something that you do on a consistent basis, you can set up a recipe and it'll automatically log in my foods up here. You can call it whatever you want, and then you don't have to put in all the ingredients every single time you have that. So that's what I did with my daily drink. I'm going to log it for my breakfast, and it's going to put my carbs. There's lemon juice. It's lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and some stevia over ice and water that I have every day, and I sip on that, and that helps get me through my fasting period. But it does have some carbs in there because of the lemon juice. So there, I always log my daily drink, and then at lunch every day, regardless of what I have for lunch or if I have lunch, I have what I call Carrie's coffee, which is coffee, 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and collagen protein. I never skimp on my collagen protein because I don't want to be flabby. So I always make sure I have collagen every day. That's something I also learned from Jess at Keto Rewind. I want to shrink the way she did. Okay. So then for dinner on the 31st, we're going to have shepherd's pie. This, it's fall. It seems like a fall thing. And my mom was saying, shepherd's pie, doesn't that sound good? Well, I found a keto recipe on Keto Connect for it. So I'm going to go in and I log my dinner first. I always do my dinner. And then if there's anything left in the day, as far as my macros are concerned, I go back and add it in at lunchtime. But sometimes we do what they call OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. And that is if it's a really dense, macro dense dinner, and it fills up my day and my macros are used for the day, then I don't have lunch. I break my fast with my coffee and my collagen drink and just have dinner. And that sounds crazy, but it really isn't. And again, I'll do a fasting video and give you more information on why that's so good for you. Anyway, so let's go ahead and log a recipe. And this is kind of a big recipe, but you're going to go to the plus sign up here in the upper right corner, and you're going to click New, and you're going to click Recipe. And then you're going to name it. So this is shepherd's pie. And the servings on this is 8. And I'm copying this off of the Keto Connect website. The prep time, this one's going to take a while. It's 30 minutes to prep and 30 minutes to cook, which is typically outside of my wheelhouse, but my mom really wants shepherd pie, so I'm going to make the sacrifice. Okay, so now I'm going to start loading ingredients. So you just click on the plus sign and come down here and load your ingredients. So first we have coconut oil, and there it is. And then it's 1 tablespoon. The tablespoon is already, the unit of measure is already chosen here, tablespoon, but if I wanted to change it, or you can just type here, however you want to do it. But 1 tablespoon, I'm going to add that. And then I'm going to come down here and click. If you click on the X, it clears it, or you can just highlight it to clear it and do the next thing. So then I'm going to have ground beef. And I use ButcherBox, and I specifically spell that out, and it comes up in here because it's the 15% ground beef by ButcherBox. And this is going to be, my unit is pounds, and this is going to be 1.5 pounds of meat, and I'm going to add that. Remember, this is for the whole recipe. This is not per serving, so don't panic, and it'll break it out for you. And then I'm going to have an onion. And it's just 1/2 of an onion. And my unit is, I'm going to say a medium onion, which is usually what I use. And then we've got celery. And it's 2 stalks, 2 large stalks. Add. And then we're going to do 1 carrot, which is Typically a little higher in carbs, but we're going to do 1 large carrot. Add. Okay. And then we're going to do garlic. And this is going to be, see, it automatically brings up the things that you already have recipes for and your favorites at the top. Then it goes to common foods. So this is going to be 2 cloves. My unit of measure is clove. So you're getting the picture, right? Rosemary. Dried rosemary. We're going to do 1 teaspoon. And let me take that quarter off. 1 teaspoon, add. And then we're going to do thyme, ground. And this is going to be 1 teaspoon here as well. Take that off, add that. Okay. And pink salt. The pink Himalayan salt is delicious. And it's good for you. A lot of good minerals there. 1.5 teaspoons of that. And then we've got black pepper. And that is 1/2 teaspoon. And chicken broth. And we're going to do 1 cup of chicken broth. Add that. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. There we go, 2 tablespoons, just happened to come up. And then we're going to do Worcestershire. I don't know how to say it. You get the idea. 1 tablespoon of that. We're going to add that. Add, there we go. Oh, it added it twice. If something adds twice, you just go to the little dots over here and you can view, edit, or delete. And I'm just going to delete one. All right. So once you've got all of your ingredients in, then you can scroll down here below some of these. You scroll to the bottom and then there's your instructions and you can type in your instructions. I typically start by putting where I got this recipe. This helps me just to remember if I ever need to go back for the recipe. Also helps me for you. For my website, when I put these recipes out on my website, I like to give credit where credit is due and let you know where I got the recipe as well. So that helps me with that. So now we're going to just type medium-high heat. Add ground beef and brown. Okay. Yum. All right. Once that's finished, we come up here and click Save. And that will be in our My Foods. So now for dinner, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add food. And I don't have to, it'll come up from the search. I know it's in My Foods, so I could click on My Foods, but I'm just going to type it in, Shepherd's. And as soon as I start doing it, it should pop up for me. Shepherd's pie, my favorites, right? That's the one I just loaded. And 1 serving of that for dinner on Saturday, October 31st. And there you go. Now, based on what's here for my dinner, I can either move that up to 2 servings if I wanted to just have 1 meal that day. And I could say, let me edit that and let me change this to 2 servings and see what happens to my macros. I still have stuff left over, so I could have 2 of the 8 servings of that shepherd's pie for dinner that night, which I might do because I think I'm gonna like it. But then you can come down here and this is where I determine, okay, I can, what am I gonna have for lunch that day? Typically I love breakfast and I'll do breakfast for lunch. just let me tell you what I do with my macros. I try never to go over on my carbs, my net carbs. I'm really close here at 14.1 to almost of 17. So I'm getting close on my carbs. Fat, I don't mind being under on my fat. This is not a fat, I don't try to reach this goal every day to fill in my fat. Usually it's a little bit short, and that's okay because I know that my body's going to burn my fat instead of the fat that I'm eating. And then protein, though, I never like to skimp on. I like to eat my protein, and sometimes I'll go over by a gram or two, and I'm not concerned with that because that helps to build lean tissue. And so I never want to skimp on my protein. But I can, you can come in here and say, oh, let's see, let me add some foods. And if I want to have an egg, let me do a cooked egg. And if I do 2 eggs, I'm still got 1.6 carbs left, so I could have that for lunch. I'm going to cook those eggs in some butter, typically. If I make a scrambled egg or fried eggs, either one. So, and usually I do 2 teaspoons of butter, so that I can add in. And then let's see where that left me. So I'm getting there. Maybe I'll have some bacon. And I typically buy my bacon from Kirkland. I get the Kirkland brand from Costco. And it's here. I don't use the fully cooked. I get their signature. And so, okay, but this tells me that if I do have 1 or 2 slices of this, that's going to put me a little over on my fat and a little over on my protein. I don't mind being over on my protein, but I really don't want to go over on my fat. So I'm going to opt not to do that. So this is where I said it becomes like a game a little bit, and you can kind of decide what you want to put in there to make those macros work out. So you can just start plugging things in. Something else I wanted to point out to you when you're adding foods is if you are scanning, you can scan something. If you can't find it in here, you type something in and you can't find it, just click the scan button. You can't do it on your computer, but if you have your tablet or your iPad or your phone, and you click scan, something will pop up in your photos, and you literally just run it over the barcode of whatever item it is that you're looking at, and it will automatically put it in here. And it loads all of the macros for that item in here for you. A really cool feature. But hopefully that's helpful to you. I will tell you that this has really been what has set us up for success. This is going to help you not to overdo. It's going to teach you portion control. And I really believe that this is what's given us a consistent loss every week. Last week was the first week that I went over, and it's just because I got lazy with my portion control. So if you really stick to this, you're setting yourself up for success. I hope this was helpful to you. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. That'll notify you every time I do another video like this. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and let me know in the comments below if this was helpful. This is Carrie, and you're watching Joy in My Keto Journey. Have a good one.